Page 13, Fairest Lord Jesus. It's in F major again. One flat, all the B's are flatted. Melody's the top note in the right hand. We want to hear that. Let's talk about the right hand first. If it's, did I say 4/4 time? I don't remember. Anyway, it's 1, 2, 3. Then lift up and move. So now we need 1 and 3 here. Now lift up and move again. 4th finger on the D. Then just cross over, hang on to the A and cross over to the 2/4. See, it's the melody we need to connect. That's what we want here. Next line, it's a 1/4. You can do a thumb on the F sharp if you want, or reach down and use 2nd finger. So again, the 3rd line. And then go on. Last line. Now change. You're on 1 3 at the end of the 3rd line, and change to 2/4 for the last line. And if you want to use a 2/5 there for the E flat C, that's fine. Otherwise, a thumb is. And then a 1 2 4, and it's an E natural there, of course. And then 1 3. It's an E natural anyway. They're just being nice to you to remind you it's an E natural. The left hand has to stay soft, and it's just got the harmony in the chords. You keep it soft. At the end of the 1st line, I recommend for the last chord it's a 4/1, not a 5/1. Because in the next line, the next one, it's a 4/2, and this way you're in position. If you don't want to use the thumb, then you have to use the 2nd finger again. And if you're going to do that, you can use the thumb on the A. You can do a 4/1 there if you'd rather. Otherwise, use their fingering, it's fine. Now, 3rd line down, 3rd measure, they're saying a 5/1 and then cross over for the 2. Other way around. On the CG, use 5/2, because you're playing it with 2nd finger from the measure before. Just stay on that and just put the little finger on the C, and this way you can use the thumb on the A. And then if you want, for the half note in the last measure of that line, you can use a 5/1, and then cross under. 2nd measure is 3rd for the half note, and then 5 for the 1/4 note. And read either 2nd finger or thumb, it's up to you. And then 4/2. If you're going to use 2nd finger on the B flat, then do a 4/1 on the whole note. And then for the amen, from the left hand, you can do a 4/1 or 4/2 and a 4/1 if you don't want to put a thumb on that black key, because that's awkward for some people. I encourage you to put the thumb on the black key if you can, because you need to do it in some key signatures. It's just going to have to happen. So try and work out a way where you can do it if you can, without going into a lot of contortion stuff. You don't want to do that. Dynamic wise, medium loud, basically, that's the melody. You have to decide what sort of loud is. And it stays that way pretty much for the piece. But once you get to know the piece, you can get louder and softer as you feel it. Because that's where you don't just stay one dynamic all the time. And this is just a suggestion. It's not an absolute rule. You have to do it that way. Now at the bottom there is a retard there in the 2nd measure where you can slow down a little bit if you want. So depending on how fast you're going. Just slow down. And then if you do the amen, keep the same speed, the same slow down. Whatever speed you slow down to, keep it here. If you repeat, then go back to your original speed and do that. So get to know the piece like it's written, and then alter it a little. You know, feel it. What do you think? Now, get all that in, and then we use the pedal. And again, this is a sweet legato piece, so we're using the pedal to help connect everything together. On this piece, we can pedal it almost like they're showing, but I'd like you to understand why you're pedaling when you're pedaling. So let's cover it. We're pedaling here because we want it to be legato. And we're changing the pedal at the harmony changes. So look at the first two measures. In the right hand or the left hand, you have a 1 chord, and you can pedal that. But in the second measure, that's a 5/7 chord. We don't want to mix the sounds. If I hold the pedal down for both, you get all those notes. We don't want all those notes. So each time the harmony changes, we're going to change the pedal. That's one of the things you do about changing pedal. There's other reasons, but let's just do this a little at a time. So here we're changing it with the harmony. Now you'll notice in the pedal indication, when they want you to change the pedal, which means lift it up and put it right back down, they have that little up arrow thing in the line. But if you look between the second and third measures, it's actually broken. The pedal line is split. That's an indication they want you to lift it up, and there's silence at that point. That's because of the phrases. We're between phrases. So at the end of the second measure, you're here. I'm going to lift the pedal up with the hands before I play the notes in the next measure. And then I'm going to push the pedal down right after I play the notes in the next measure. Like so. And that's why the pedal marking is the way it is. So we're going to do the first line just the way it's written, like this. Then lift it up. At the end of the line, we lift it up again, it's the end of a phrase, and now at the next line, we can pedal it just like they're showing. They're changing it with the harmony is all. And the last two beats in the second measure, that didn't fit any harmony, so we're not pedaling those. We don't want to smear those notes. And again, legato pedal, you push the notes down first and then the pedal. And at the last two beats of the second line, we don't pedal those. Hold the right hand down, it's a whole note. And then go on. Now, they're not showing much of any pedaling for the third line, and I disagree. I think you should pedal the whole third line, but change it every 2 beats. Here. Change it here. And then in the last measure of that line, I lift it up on the third beat because it's the end of a phrase and I want some silence before I play the last beat. And I get that silence, but I need to connect this note, the last beat of the measure, with the first beat of the next measure. I need the pedal for that, so I'm going to push the pedal down after I play the last beat. So that last measure, the third line, is this way. And then in the last line, I recommend go ahead and pedal the first measure, but pedal every beat, because every beat's a different harmony here. So it's here, last measure, last line, first measure. And then you can pedal it the way they're showing. And that's how I suggest you do the pedal. And then there at the repeat sign, you lift the pedal up, it's the end of a phrase. We want the silence before we go on. Whether we repeat or not, doesn't matter. Now it's got verses at the bottom. You can actually do this 3 times if you're going to do all the verses. And to play with me, I'm only going to repeat once, so we're only going to do it twice. So I'd like to do it with you together, slowly, to check the notes and the rhythms, and I'll try and pedal it the way I just described. So put your hands where they go. I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 2, 2, 4.